Good afternoon. So today, I believe it's August the 20th, the officer that killed Michael Garner has been fired. I listened to the press conference, and it was just full of and, or, and, if. It's just, it's kind of like, I say this all the time, that we as black people, we look for adjudication. We look for some kind of a white person somewhere giving us justice. We do, man. We do. Whether it be with Obama, you name it, and or the civil rights bills they had years ago. I've said it before many times. If you read those bills, they're not actually saying, "Okay, we're sorry for how black people have been treated." Those are wartime bills. Okay. I think one of them was talking about how we're at a state of war, so we need this to protect our soldiers. That's not for you. That's not for the average black man. That's a war bill because they were at war, the Vietnam War, LBJ. But we as black people, we've been beaten down for so long that any kind of tap on the shoulder or whatever, we gotta grab it. We just, I don't blame black people for that. Listen to Roland Martin talk about it, and something I hadn't even thought about, which is that this cop could come back and get his job back. He could appeal it. I think he said he's gonna appeal it. And the whole thing was just like the comments the guy was making was F. The whole thing. It was really a sense that we can't keep him on the force because he's too high profile. Not that he killed somebody unnecessarily, but he's too high profile. He's gonna cause too many problems. That's what I got from the whole spiel. It was not this is wrong, and I think the only person who really was prosecuted was the guy that photographed it, videoed it on his phone. And that's sent a message. That's just send a message to anybody out here that these guys that do these, they go to police departments and try to challenge the police on video, and I'm gonna walk through here with a pistol and all that kind of stuff. I think that's really a lesson, a word to the wise, if you will. I think it is, at least. And for some reason, I got to thinking about the Michael Sayer case. And what I told you, I always refer to the officer. I always refer to the white man that did the shooting. That's why I use their name. Even though they're not, it's a black man killed, I use their name because what white supremacy does, they want to make it about the Negro. Even though he's dead, they want to, hey, it's really about him, So I always refer to it as the so-and-so, whoever pulled the trigger. When he shot, I forgot the brother's name in the back 8 times. He was on tape. And one thing that I remember, it was a guy that was videotaping it that said, hey, I was scared for my life. He was behind a fence, and he was still scared that he himself might be harmed. I ain't forgot that, man. I never forgot that. That shit really stayed on my mind. Like, damn, you know what I mean? And it sounded crazy to me then. No, it don't sound crazy now. I think that's a reasonable fear to have. I think that's a completely reasonable fear to have, that these race soldiers will kill you too, just for being there. I think that is totally reasonable. Totally reasonable fear. So, but it's the Pantnalo case, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know how to pronounce the name. It was really another miscarriage of justice. It was another example of the double standards. It's another example of how we really can't expect justice from this system. I say this very often about black people that we want justice, we want to go along with the system, but it's just not gonna happen, man. It's a tragedy. I seen a video a while back. The dude was selling a gun to an undercover cop, and he ran. And instead of the taser, one of the cops pulled his gun and shot him. And he's on the ground, and he's like, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. And one of the cops says, fuck your breath. See, that's why I'm all for body cameras, because it really shows you just how callous, how vicious, how underhanded, and how nasty some of these cops really are. Oh, yeah. You watch these videos, it really shows you just how much they really don't give a fuck, and they really don't care, and they don't have really basic humanity towards people that they deal with. Whatever this man was charged with, he wasn't trying to hurt the officers. He wasn't trying to hurt that officer specifically. You have no reason to be angry at him. You have no reason to speak to him in that manner. You need to get him medical assistance. He's not harming you. He's not fighting you. He's not doing anything to, hurt you or your people or your family. So you trying to, I don't know. It goes back to what I tell about white men being vigilantes. It goes back to that shit. Yeah, they're gonna. I made a video a while back where I spoke about this. What does it mean when white supremacy breaks their own rules? They're doing it all over now. Yeah, and I think it does something to the basic ideas of justice, if there ever was justice, whatever. People disagree with me on that, but I think it really destroys that. And not to say they ever really had justice, but I'll just say I support body cameras more now than ever. That's two things. Body cameras and Kaepernick. Those are two things that I've got to say I have more respect for now than when they first were being brought about. I understand the need for it more now than ever. We're dealing with a rogue force out here, man. We're dealing with a rogue force of cops that really gets to do whatever. I'm surprised Trump ain't got involved in the case. I really am. I'm sure that sounds crazy to some of y'all, but I'm surprised Trump hasn't got his ugly mug up in the case and ran his mouth about it. It gets me that Trump's from New York and he's just hated. You've never, that's two things. You've never had a president just hated. Yeah, you've had presidents that have done stuff that might have been kind of, people didn't like it. People didn't really care for it. And maybe their points went down in the state they lived in. But you've never really had a president hated in his own state where he comes from. I mean, that's something different, guys. Even if you support Trump, you've got to acknowledge that this is different. This is very different. Oh my God. I like my shit in here. It's very different. And I know Trump doesn't care. I mean, he's one of these rich white guys that he really doesn't care. He's destroying all the democratic norms. He's destroying all the zoomed in far, ain't it? I know I zoomed in. Sorry about that. I don't normally do that. I don't normally use that. But yeah, he's destroying all the basic things we have to protect ourselves, clean air and clean water. He's destroying every bit of it. He's destroying every bit of it every day. A little bit more of it. And it is so disgusting to sit here and watch that. I think Trump has made me a lot more radical because I know what's at stake now. My friend Denzel said to me, he never thought he'd be into politics as much as he is. And I said, yeah, because you know what's at stake, because he's destroying everything. I'm surprised he ain't trying to go after the civil rights bill or something. For real. That's not rhetoric. I'm for real. Endangered Species Act. A lot of stuff Trump is destroying. Mm-hmm. That's real talk. I think that Trump is great white hope. He's great white hope. He's all they've got, or all they think they've got, and so that's why he's able to get away with so much, because white folks feel like this is all we got, man. And I find that amazing, because to me, we're living in the final days of the empire. Not saying that America won't exist anymore. People think I'm saying that. No, but I'm saying that the America that you have won't exist anymore. You understand? The America that you have is going down the drain. That's what I'm talking about. It can't be the way it's been. It can't continue. And you're gonna have white, and it's gonna get a lot worse in this country. It's gonna be a lot more mass shooters. It's gonna be a lot more violence. Out of well, you see it a little bit every morning or every day when I start, whatever. So yeah, man, you dealing with people who. That's why I made a video. I said, if you're black and you're a conservative, what the hell are you conserving? For real, what are you conserving? I was real with that. Like, I was real with that, man. That wasn't a joke. Because you're living in a society of people who show you every chance they get how much they hate you, and your ancestors, and your family, and your children. So what the hell are you defending again? You're defending your own repression. You're defending your own destruction. You're like the camp slave. Remember Malcolm X? You're the camp slave. You want to remain underfoot. You want to remain. I used to believe this stuff. Oh God, I used to believe this. I used to believe in capitalism and libertarianism. I used to believe in, but I realize now that I think the difference between libertarianism and like the rest of capitalism and conservatism is, I think that conservatives think if they do this, that, and the other, then they could possibly make it to another part of the ruling class. They could join the ruling class, the possibility. And I think that that's how they see it. That's how they see it, that they'll join the ruling class and they'll, get up, which, no. Nothing realistic about that. And libertarians are kind of like, no, they recognize the system's fucked up too. I think that's kind of why I think about why was I drawn to it. That's why. Because I knew the system was fucked up. I didn't know about class. I didn't know about class back then. I didn't know about things of this nature back then. But I knew that the way they had the system was fucked up. You see, now I know. Ooh, a blender's in the car, I think. Now I know that the things I was talking about, New World Order, all that, no, that's just capitalism. That's just capitalism taking it to its fullest extent. I'll say to its extreme extent, yes. But it's still just capitalism. That's all it is. It's still just capitalism, taken to its fullest extent. You may not like it. That's what it is, man. All this mining, going in there and mining up Mount Rushmore. I mean, it's interesting to me. I don't care about all that jingoistic bullshit, but it's interesting to me that all this stuff that once was considered sacred Trump is now wrecking all of it. You know what I mean? He's wrecking all of it. He's destroying a lot of it. He's destroying he's destroying what we know of it, I guess you could say at least. He's destroying all of it. He's wrecking it, and he's just trying to make money off it. It's interesting to me. I think a lot of what this just shows you is the inhumanity of Caucasians. It shows you the inhumanity Whether it be when he went to El Paso. I'm talking about the fact that you have some of them that still support him. I'm talking about that right now. Yeah, I think it just shows you their inhumanity. And that's a good thing. I say this often. That's a good thing. It's always a good thing for you to know what your enemy is. The bad thing is when you don't know. The bad thing is when you're fooled. The bad thing is when you're, playing with a sociopath and don't even know it. It's not bad to know who he is. It's not bad to know that, because then you can possibly avoid getting the spider's web. What joke, man? Yeah, so it's not bad to know what you're dealing with and what you're looking at. It is amazing to me. We're living, I say this all the time, is that we're living in a very uncivil time. You know what I mean? Very, very uncivil. That's what I see with Trump. That's what I see with his comments. That's what I see with the comments I see from other white people. Is just incivility. Yeah, okay. You can say it's your First Amendment right, but why would you want to? It's kind of like when you have some kid that's a punk, and his brother shows up. My brother showed up. And he started cussing and shit. That's, to me, what white people are doing right now. Trump is the big brother, or they think he is. Big brother don't give a fuck, but that's what they think he is. That's who they're repping right now, is the big brother. I'm not, me and Dizelle were talking about this, and it's true that if there is a recession, I think there will. A lot of folks around me, most folks think it is going to be a recession. Will he still get the votes? Sorry, that's honey. I think it's organic. No, it's not organic, but I got organic honey in here. But yeah, we were talking about will he still get the votes? Will he get the support? I see Trump as white people basically saying, all right, we're boarding the lifeboats. Fuck you, blackies and brown people. And I also see these white trashy people who think that they see Trump as an icon. It's kind of like Obama. They see him as what they could be, which they couldn't, because we know now that, I've said it before, what the whole Trump, this whole foolishness, him being in office, has shown me is that it's not about going to school and working hard. It's not. It's about privilege. I mean, Trump burned up $1 billion in a fucking decade. In a fucking decade. You know what I mean? Other things he's done. It really just shows you that all the stuff I was taught when I was a kid, it was all bullcrap, man. It was all bullcrap to, legitimize the system. Like I was telling, off subject. That's what that stuff shows me. And I kind of thank God for it, because it reaffirms what we already know about white supremacy. Hold on a second, y'all. It reaffirms what we know about white supremacy already. And so for me, that's a positive thing. Whether you like it or whether you don't, it's a positive thing, because they're not even trying to fool you no more. I heard my whole life about education and shit like that. And now I know none of that means anything. Not really. What this Epstein thing shows, and I'm surprised law enforcement ain't talking more about this. What it shows you is, and I said this when Trump first got elected, that we're kind of going back to the America of the 50s. We're going back to the good old boy system. We're going back to fraud. We're going back to the Red Scares. All this stuff. That's good. We're going back to it. We're not advancing. Same old stuff. Mongering. You name it. Going back to that. Peace, y'all.